What's up everyone? In today's video, I'm going to share with you 5 tips to instantly improve overnight at Apex Legends. If you guys are struggling this season, dropping kills, stacking damage, and or getting wins, this video is for you. Last night, my friend Speeds and I won 5 Battle Royale matches in a row. And these weren't the type of wins where you camp till the end game and get 1 kill. Every game, we each had over 2k damage and around 10 kills. Now, personally in pubs, I don't usually play for wins. I play to win every fight, and I try to take every fight I can, within reason. So in this video, I will highlight 5 things we use to dominate, and these things you can implement into your gameplay quickly. Some of these things I've never shared with you guys before, so be sure to listen to all 5. If you guys are new here, just know my channel centers around helping you all improve at Apex Legends. So really, without anything further, let's just hop right into it. Tip number 1, play duos with a teammate. The reason being is taking on 2v2s is much more manageable than basically trying to do anything else. If you duo queue trios, more times than not, you gotta fight 2v3s. And yes, at times fighting in disadvantaged situations will help you improve, but the reality is only a certain amount of situations where you're down on numbers is winnable. A lot of factors have to go your way on top of you being able to clutch up. That's why I'm not a big fan of the no-fill option. It's not balanced in the slightest and doesn't really represent skill. The true way to improve is being able to win your 1v1s, not trying to be able to 1v2, 2 kids holding hands with purple armor, because it's just not going to go your way and you're really not supposed to win that in Apex. The time to kill in Apex is so long, and the time to heal is also very long, leaving you really only able to do so much. See, playing duos with a teammate helps you and then be able to manage the constant influx of teams much easier. Playing with a friend and actively communicating with them is one of the best ways to take on team after team. It can help with all aspects of your gameplay. Now, I do normally play trios with a random or 2, but I was getting really burnt out on having to pull the weight of more than just me. And I know a lot of you guys solo queue, but just understand you could do everything right and still lose, because at the end of the day, if a team has you beat in terms of numbers, it's GG's. Duos is a great way to improve, and you only have to worry about having one teammate that's got your back. Now, Apex really should make the matchmaking different for people who solo queue and the people who play together on a team, but we've been asking for this for so many seasons, it's probably not coming. If you guys are enjoying this video, please do me one favor and just go ahead and tap that like button. Yeah, just give it a tap. This is for the YouTube algorithm. This only takes a second of your time and helps push the video out to more viewers, so thank you for doing that. Let's move on to tip number 2. Tip number 2, drop hut and fight. Dropping hut is vital for improvement in Apex. This allows you to consistently be practicing and fighting to reach your goal of improvement more efficiently. Look, if you're the type of person who is landing somewhere far secluded from other players and looting for the first 10 minutes of the game, you are doing it wrong. This is not how you improve, I'm sorry to say. And I know I've mentioned this in some of my previous videos, but whether I'm doing coaching sessions or playing solo queue trios, I see this non-stop. Looting for the first half of the game and then spending the next 5 minutes searching for people is not only a waste of time, but it's not going to help you get better. Because if you die, you realistically only got somewhere from 20 seconds to a minute of fighting at best. On the contrary, if you just die off drop, you got anywhere from that range of fighting, but you wasted minimal time looting, and you can just queue up and go next. Ideally, you want to be dropping in places like both Fragment East and West on World's Edge, and Stormcatcher, Barometer, or Mill on Stormpoint. These places generally have the most amount of people landing there and will give you quick access to players to fight. Now, this does not mean to drop hut without a brain and just continue to die game after game. You want to be sure to free look around and make sure that you can land near teams, but not necessarily on top of 3 enemies, and then just be sure that you are looting quick and moving with your team to the nearest fight. This is pivotal, and I wouldn't mention this so many times in my videos if I didn't consistently see this time and time again. Tip number 3, you got to have a hunter's mentality. Now, it's become apparent to me from doing so many coaching sessions and playing thousands of games in Apex Legends that a lot of people just flow in and out of a match. Like, they're not really doing much but looking for loot and just kind of going about their day. And one thing I noticed a lot of sweaty players do is they are always on the hunt, actively scouting for teams and looking to take fights. Of course, a couple prerequisites to doing this is map knowledge, decent game sense, and confidence. But when I enter a match, my teammate and I are looting wherever we land and not looking to loot again, because we're looking for fights. And then if we win those fights, we get more loot off the death boxes. If we're in public matches, we are not backing down from any fight. This doesn't mean that we won't play it smart and possibly have to reposition in hopes the enemy follows so we catch them in a vulnerable spot. But having this mentality will set you apart drastically from your randoms. This is how you are going to get confident and increase your game knowledge in Apex. And to some of the players who may not be here yet mentally, well, act as if. Because if you take the passive approach all the time, there will always be a bigger fish, so to speak. You will not make it in the higher elos of play, and you certainly will not be improving in the areas that you need to. See, when I was new to this game, my methods were much different than they are now. But back then I used to drop into a match, loot around, look for my preferable loadout, try to find good attachments, and then hope to find a better armor. And then, only then, I would feel ready to take a fight, if I stumbled across them. And now, well, it's much different. I do try to find some balance here, but if I drop onto the streamer building and fragment and can't find a gun on 2 different floors while 3 teams shoot at me, I may not feel like I even had a chance. So if I see a bunch of teams, that limits my RNG of the loot off drop. I will land close, but I will take a more safe approach where I have a better probability to get a gun or 2 and then quickly pull up to the fight. This is what smart players do. Tip number 4, always look for your advantage. Teams that seize the moment when they have the upper hand will always dominate the fight. They are going to close the gap when they beam you for 150. They are going to reposition when they take damage. They are going to use their Legends abilities at the perfect moment and in the best way possible. Skill gap is a real thing in Apex Legends, and it's partially what makes Apex so addicting in my opinion. Now, tip 3 and 4 are very similar, but they do differ, so listen closely. Seizing the moment comes down to game sense and IQ. Now, this is the broadest topic in Apex because of all of the variables in any given fight, and it's hard to articulate steadfast rules or tips, but let me elaborate here for you. You need to be assessing any given situation and taking in that information quickly, then in which you either need to be proactive and make the first move or reactive to other opponents' moves. This is chess, not checkers. One of the biggest issues in Apex is hindsight. See, hindsight is always going to be 20/20, but in Apex, you can't keep looking back for the answers when you don't have them in that moment. That's why you have to be okay with operating off of the information you've received in that moment. Lots of good players understand this philosophy, and lots of good players don't. Let me ask you guys something. How many times have you and your teammates made a decision to take a fight in that moment? And then the fight doesn't work out. And then as soon as you're back to the lobby, one of the players goes, "Oh, we shouldn't have taken that fight. That was stupid. We should have done XYZ instead." Well, the truth is, in that moment, if you guys all were on the same page to fight, then you need to be okay with the outcome, win or lose. And you need to focus more so on what went wrong and not the decision itself. Not instantly going back and saying, "Oh, of course, the opposite decision was the right call because fighting didn't work out." And this will tear teams apart, and it usually does if you watch closely. Don't be like this. It's not beneficial to you, your teammates, or your mental. You need to learn from your mistakes, but don't second guess every single decision that doesn't work out, because hindsight will always be 20/20. Tip number 5, if you can't play a lot, you need to watch a lot, and you need to watch other cracked players. Watching pros and high-level players is an extremely good way to educate yourself on not only what is meta, but also how to play the game correctly. Players like Imperial Hal and Sweet Dreams are just 2 prime examples of people who play at the highest level. Watching their streams or viewing their clips will help you up your game, but it's not limited to just them. You need to understand what they did and for what reason, because this is vital to learning how to play from other people. One thing that a lot of people fail to do is watch these streamers and content creators' fails, similar to running back what went wrong in your head and learning from your own fails. This method of improvement is also heavily applicable to high-level players. They might have made the correct decision in rotating somewhere, for example, but they could have poorly executed the play. Be sure to comprehend what went wrong and learn from it. Now, this does not mean to be the dude in Twitch chat going, "You could have done this instead," or "You should have done that." No one wants to hear that, and certainly not them. But what you can do is figure out what the mistake was and how it could have been avoided. Streams, clips, and VODs are some of the best ways to learn how to play the game from an outside perspective. This is a reason why teams have coaches. They weren't directly playing in the game themselves, but they can look at the game from another perspective that the players might not have. If you guys found this video helpful in any way, I hope you will consider subscribing. I want to thank you so much for watching. That's going to be it for me. I'll catch you guys on my next upload. Peace.